Well, it hasn't been that long since the My Hero Academia craze has gone away. People were mad about the ending and everything was happening. What I will say is we did get a lot of good news from Kohei Horikoshi when it came to, what Deku is going to be doing after that. He released some chapter stuff. But I kind of found this online and I wanted to kind of talk about it because I thought it was pretty interesting. Things like My Hero Academia, I believe, wouldn't exist without Marvel and all these other companies, and this is just something that came from that. So Sky High. So I want to kind of go through some of this coming off of that type of stuff, superhero stuff, where it comes to manga, and just kind of talk about this right here. It's been 20 years since Sky High premiered in Celebration. Here's some fun facts about the movie. And before we dive into this, guys, I just want to say, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Marshulartz, once again, owner and operator of Lumbento LLC, manga and light novel company stationed here in Ohio. And, you can go ahead and go read other things, like I was saying, other manga, like Penguin Boy, Lost Treasure, Brave Soul, Devil Strike, and the two recent one-shots that were added, Recusant by the talented Storm Rave, and the very recent Aku Ronin by the talented Number One manga. Penguin Boy is my series. It is 11 chapters in. I'm working on chapter 12 right now as we speak. But Recusant is the first installment to Storm Rave joining Lumbento and putting his work out there. So if you want to see what's in store for him, go check out Recusant. It's a really great one-shot, really great story, really great art. Same thing for Aku Ronin. Really great story, really great art. Overall, both of these gentlemen are very talented, so go check that out. Lost Treasure is a one-shot that I did when I was first trying to learn manga, very, very first one-shot. And if you were to read that and then go to my other manga, Brave Soul, which was a canceled series that I canceled myself to do something else based on what was going on at the time with our company. So yeah, you can go read Lost Treasure, Brave Soul, then Penguin Boy, just to see how far I've come during the three different series. And then the talented Yuki, who's doing Psy-Q, that's going to be releasing sooner than you think. He did Devil Strike, and we're going to kind of go from there. But yeah, go check out our manga section. Light novel section is still being currently built. You can check out everything else, such as contests that we had, both the Penguin Highway manga entries and the other contests. You can read our stuff. You can see what's in store for our store and kind of go from there. But nonetheless, let's get back into this one. Oh, yeah, before I even start, thank you for the recent subscribers. Was at 100, and then slowly as certain videos started to creep up in size, I reached 127. Appreciate all of you being here. And yes, being able to subscribe, man, it's a lot of joy, and yeah, we're aiming for that 1K. Anyway, it's 20 years since Sky High premiered in Celebration. Here's some fun facts about the movie. First off, I really love Sky High. I don't know if you guys understand, but when this movie dropped, I remember watching it. I remember watching it maybe a couple weeks after it had came out on Disney, and they were doing a couple reruns of it, and I was like, yo, this is really good. This is really cool. I greatly enjoy this movie. To me, this was My Hero Academia before My Hero Academia, which is why I brought it up at the beginning of this video. Like, I really thought this girl's powers were overpowered. I thought she had not the girl who could turn into a guinea pig. I don't want you to confuse that. But I'm talking about this girl who control pretty much nature, control flowers. Like, her power is freaking amazing. And I mean, let's not forget Will Strong. He got both his mom and his dad's powers of flight and super strength, which to me is pretty cool. And then, you have this guy who could make fireballs and fire, and he was just kind of the bad guy. Don't get me wrong. The whole thing is cool. But anyway, let's dive into some of these facts. The actors signed a contract that will require for them to be able to surprise their roles in a possible sequel or TV show if the movies were successful at the box office. Now, obviously, we didn't get to the... I don't think this movie was that popular to where because it never got a sequel and it never got a TV show. I wish it would have got a TV show at least. I think that would have been cool just to even see these kids who have these superpowers reprisals. But to me, they didn't really establish a whole lot of the world for you to be able to do that. I think if they would establish more of the world... Here's the thing. They established more of the school, which is ironically everything I complain about most superhero manga or manga that involves schools is they don't do enough with the schools. But this is actually a story that did something with the school. It focused on the school, it focused on the kids, and it focused on them trying to pass their classes, which a lot of times a lot of people think that can be boring, but it can be fun if you do it right. But yeah, I think this would have been cool to see a TV show, maybe not another movie. Maybe it could have been a movie, 2 seasons of a show, and then a movie to finalize it. that would have been iconic back in the day. I mean, we're doing that now with certain things. We're just getting into that realm now with like Demon Slayer and I think it was Attack on Titan. No, Attack on Titan, not Attack on Titan. Chainsaw Man, I believe it is. That has a movie coming out. But yeah, no, this would have been iconic. One of the most brilliant. So I didn't know this one. One of the most brilliant castings for a kids hero movie was getting the Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, to be the school principal. I didn't know that one. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that Linda Carter was the principal. I didn't even really recognize who she was or what she was, but I think that was a really good choice. Getting the Wonder Woman to play as the principal. I thought that was really cool. Never a day in my life have I seen anything but like small clips of the old school like the old school Justice League show and stuff like that. Like I've only seen very small clips. Haven't seen really anything, but I think that that's a nice touch. You know, that's just people paying homage, saying, "Hey, we're doing a superhero movie. Let's go ahead and make the principal someone that adults can know, even if these kids don't know. The adults will know, like, hey, this is really cool." It's just another way to pull in another demographic, not just the kids, but the actual adults, which is a really nice touch in my eye. Rachel McAdams is offered the role of Magenta. I think Rachel McAdams would have did a great job, but I do like who they gave the role to. I do think she did a great job at the time of this movie's conception. I think she played her part perfectly. I mean, she could turn into a guinea pig, and I understand at the time that superheroes definitely was not the coolest thing to do. So I definitely can't blame Rachel for that, and I definitely understand that she was just like probably like nah. There was a Mean Girls reference in the script when Gwen tells Layla she loved her skirt. It was a direct call to Regina George doing the same to a student. That was a subtle way to imply that Gwen was the villain. I didn't know that. I did not know that. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Like they did their research. They did their research. They knew what they were going for, and they kind of were like, let's try and take these other facets of these movies. And I think that's a good way to have inspiration and kind of say, hey, you know, here's my inspiration for this. This is what I'm going with. Here's this thing here. Here is this character who is evil. Let me do this in a subtle way. If you've seen these other movies or you're a fan of these other movies as a teenager, here's this other thing for you. And I think both guys and girls liked this movie all around. A lot of people loved this movie. Plus, who could not like Ramona Flowers? Like, she was a baddie in both movies. This movie and in Scott Pilgrim. Her name is Rachel McAdams. Or, I'm sorry, Regina George. Regina George. No, I'm sorry, Gwen. I'm so all over the place. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. The plot twist of Gwen being revealed as the villain and nobody being able to recognize it because she wears glasses is a reference to nobody being able to tell Superman and Clark Kent apart for the same reason. So this is her being that, and then there she is right there, and nobody could tell because just like Superman, he wears glasses. Just Superman doesn't wear glasses and Clark Kent does, which you know it's kind of cool. So I think that's a nice touch. Once again, people who made this movie were obviously superhero fans from all different walks of life, and they were just fans of like movies and entertainment in general. So they probably looked at this and said, "Yeah, this is actually really cool. I enjoy this. This is something that I want this to be a part of it in its own way." Mary Elizabeth, that's her name. Mary Elizabeth Winstead filmed Final Destination 3 and Sky High back to back. So I just want to say, filming these two movies, which have crazy tones, has to be jarring for me. I've never seen Final Destination 3. I think I did. I don't know if that's the one with the logs or not, but I remember watching the one with the logs, the roller coaster ride, and there was another one. But I do not watch any more Final Destinations because I want to enjoy life, and that's just how I am. If it has to do with anything being super scary or people dying or being killed, I try to stay away from it as much as possible. I don't even like looking at the Black Mirror stuff. But anyway, I think this is really cool. Mary Elizabeth Winstead filming both those movies back to back. I mean, that's just the life of a movie, of an actress or an actor, you know. They're always looking for the next gig, always looking for the next thing. And, you know, that's how they make their livelihood. So, yeah, shout out to Mary Winstead. You know, that was pretty cool. Linda Carter wanted to use gold jewelry to pay homage to her character, but Warner refused to let her do it for copyright reasons. However, she ended up referencing the character in an improvised dialogue. I'm not Wonder Woman, you know. Yeah, that's actually pretty gold. That's actually pretty gold. So, yeah. Continuing on, there were plans to hire celebrity power couple to play Mr. and Mrs. Stronghold, with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar being considered for the roles. I don't know. I like who they have for the roles currently, or for the role. I like who they had for the roles currently. I'm not really a fan of. I wouldn't have been a fan of these two reprising the roles for this. So, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith were also considered for the couple role. I know I'm gonna just leave that one there. This wouldn't have flew. Imagine they're doing like a remake and then this is what they go with nowadays. No, that would have been crazy. Bruce Campbell, aka the Coach, appeared in all 2000 adaptations of Spider-Man, as well as Sky High, which is really cool. I'm still not over this. This is actually crazy. 3 High School Musical cast members auditioned for the movie. Corbin Bleu auditioned for Ethan, Vanessa Hudgens for Magenta, and Ashley Tisdale for Layla. I could have seen this. This would have been cool. I think this would have been cool. I was not a fan of Corbin Bleu when he was younger doing things. I just wasn't. I didn't see High School Musical until I was like in my mid-20s. Any of the High School Musicals. I think I watched all 3 of them at one point because I was like, fuck it, let me just watch them and see what they're about. They were actually pretty good. Wasn't really too much of a fan of the first one. The second one was really good. Third one was it was cool. But yeah, this is actually pretty cool. Kirsten Davis, aka Charlotta in Sex and the City, auditioned for Miss Stronghold, but she ended up bagging Shark Boy and Lava Girl instead. Okay. Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That is a movie I haven't heard of in forever. That's a movie I haven't heard of. We might do that one next, but happy 20th anniversary, Sky High. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, dude. She has like these plant powers, which I think is like really cool. All right, that's enough of that. I don't want to get. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much just. I just wanted to kind of talk about this and kind of get off the My Hero Academia train. I know a lot of people are still on the My Hero Academia train, where they're talking about it. They're talking about their ships and all that stuff. But yeah, like I said, shout out to all the recent people who subscribed, man. Be sure to go over and read our manga. Penguin Boy, Lost Treasure, Brave Soul, Devil Strike, Aku Runner, Recusant. Be on the lookout for, Light On and other shits that are going to be making their way to the platform. So, yeah, you got Light On right here, which is going to get an announcement pretty soon. You got Devil Strike, Brave Soul, all these different stories. So, yeah, shout out to you, Bento Fandom. Appreciate you guys being around. And, yeah, go read Aku Ronin. Let us know your thoughts. Go read Recusant One Shot. Let us know your thoughts. Go read Penguin Boy. Let us know your thoughts. And remember, let's recall imagination. One story at a time.